So you're back in training with the players due to participation in the UEFA Youth League this year. How's it been going so far?
Great. Well, I think, Louise, the first thing that had to be dealt with is making sure all the protocols were in place to ensure that when we did get back, it was safe. We're meeting all the kind of necessary guidelines that was put in place for us. And I think we've got a team of people there, first and foremost from the obviously the operations team, that have made sure that what we do is fitting what's required. But getting back on the pitch is exciting for the players. It's exciting for the staff. We've put a lot in place off-site to ensure that from Zoom calls and different meetings that we have with the players' online programme keeps them learning. But getting back on the pitch is proved to be a relief for a lot of the players and staff to try and make sure we keep working and then developing that side of the game.
Yeah, and you touched on the COVID protocols and things in place there. How different does that make the organisation around training and getting into the training ground?
It's just been very strict, Louise. I think first and foremost, before we started to return back to training, we had to go through the COVID testing, which the club obviously put in place, and we'll continue with that every week until obviously there's some sort of normality. The turn we'll keep going with that with the UEFA game and the distance. So that's one thing. Obviously social distancing. We've got Robert Gowther, who's our COVID officer, to ensure that every single bit of protocol is met. The players go to the right places at the right times. They wear face masks until such time they're on the football pitch and they're training properly. The cleaning of equipment again is very stringent as well. Little access to the building. It was really only just for physio treatment, etc., that you would access the building at all. So every other aspect of that is very much just about making sure we're outdoors, we're keeping distances until obviously we come to the training pitch and we're training properly. Our staff planning is all done off-site on Zoom calls to ensure again that we're not spending too long in the same room at the same time. So everything like that is just a way of making sure that everybody's safe effectively and keeping people away from as much risk as we possibly can. Because I think up until this point we've done it very, very well. It's just something to making sure we're on top of to ensure it continues that way.
Yeah, and getting the players back on the pitch, what kind of condition were they in after returning from the break?
If I'm being honest, we actually never noticed that there was anything different with the guys, which is credit to themselves. Actually credit first and foremost to the programme that's put in place for them, from the sports science team and obviously from the technical staff as well, the analysis team. Everything that's involved have made sure that they've got a programme running now. Clearly, you can't see what they're doing, but we can follow on different apps to see a rough guideline as to what levels they've been working at. But when they've come back onto the pitch, we've not had really to focus on their fitness. We've really just focused on the tactical and technical side of the game because the fitness levels appear to be at a level that's allowed them to start working appropriately that we want them to be.
Yeah, and obviously that just shows how good that online programme was to keep the players and obviously their motivation to do it, to come back in such a good condition.
I think it's spot on. I think it's two things. The programme was excellent. I don't know if there's any other way of describing it. It was excellent. But I think the players, the fact that you've not got a coach or another player pushing you to your best level, for the players to go and do it individually, it's credit to them as well, because obviously realise that they're in a position. They're fortunate to be a club like ourselves where they've got the support that they've got, and they've got the programme that's in place. They've got people that can contact on a daily basis to take any sort of support they possibly can. But for them to go and do it themselves is credit to them. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that they've done it that way because we've seen it with most of them before.
Mm-hmm. And how important is it now to try and make the most of that time? You touched on it still being limited at the training centre, the time on the pitch to make the most of that going forward.
Listen, it's invaluable because any access we can get to the players, and a lot of our work now is technical and tactical. Of course, it fits in with our kind of tactical periodisation to ensure that the players are still getting the fitness side as well. But from our point of view right now, there's a short window between now and when hopefully the UEFA Youth League game takes place. So we make one or two tactical tweaks to how we want the players to be, and this is the time to do it. So on the pitch, you're getting that balance between ensuring that they maintain their fitness levels and push them beyond, but also ensuring that they learn certain aspects of what we want to look like when we get to the game itself. And obviously, we've not quite got there yet, but from terms of the opposition, we'll start to drip feed a little bit what they are to ensure that we focus on us, but we've got an understanding of what challenges we might face.
And the players have been getting individual player match reports now. How beneficial is that for them and their development as well?
And again, it's another level that we can provide. I think the players are probably the best judge of whether it's beneficial to them or not. But any feedback we've had has been fantastic. You know, we've got so much support, as I've touched on earlier. The analyst team have got obviously the games here on their kind of platform. They've then got the individual clips all broken down. But what we then do is we take the individual clips and actually really break it down further again in regards to each individual moment of the game, what impact the player had. And then what you can then do with the players, you can set them different challenges off the detail that you've then collated. So listen, every little bit we can do that helps the player to improve even a small percentage. That one little bit adds a strand to their development, then it's time well spent. And I say from the player's point of view, and they've spoken to that's had it, they've been appreciative of it and craving more. They always want more of it as well. So actually, it does take a little bit of time to turn it around, because it's not just on it turned around in 10 minutes. And they're coming off the pitch and almost within a day they're wanting it. They want that feedback. So that gives you an indication, hopefully, that it's something that we can continue with.
Yeah, and how pleased have you been with the players' reaction sort of over this period? It's obviously looked very different to what a normal year would look like for them, but they've really sort of developed through that time as well.
They have, and it's been more difficult. You can't deny that, because obviously you've got the new intake of full-time players from the 2004 squad who have not really got a full taste of what full-time football's like, because you know a normal day would consist of being at 8 o'clock in the morning and the players maybe not leaving until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Some stay on later because the facility is there for them to use. If it involves a little bit of individual practice beyond what they would do with us, then it's great. So they've not quite got that full, taste of what that looks like. However, we have maximised what we can do, and we have spent a lot of time on Zoom with the players. So even if it's individual analysis, which you would normally sit in the education base or the auditorium with the player, which we can't do at the moment, then we are doing it on Zoom, and it can be done at times. And we've said to the players, as much as our hours might be working from this time in the morning to this time in the afternoon, if a player wants more, then we would do it in the evening. They just need to send us the request. If we've not went to them, come to us. And some have craved that a little bit more. And if it involves, I say, these conversations like this, if that's the best we can do right now, then we'll do it. We will do it. But training sessions, once a training session finishes, again, players are wanting a little bit extra. And if the time allows for it, if the daylight allows for it, if the facility allows for it, then we would do it. But we still have to be careful and mindful of each of the restrictions that we face to ensure that we still meet all those protocols and we don't put ourselves at risk.